Oh, my very first memory as a child was when one of my art teachers in France was talking to my mother, and she says, "You know, your daughter has such a weird sense of color, an interesting way of, painting reality in a completely different, as all the other children were painting, the grass green, I was painting it red." Or so, it's just, I've always loved art. I became a writer, and I wrote short stories and plays, and even in my collage and the stuff I do, there's always a story. The storyteller in me has never left. Let's put it this way. So even through different layers of textures and colors or collage, there's always something going on. I like people to interpret and to bring in their experience of life and their own special own meaning. I think for me it's a process of experimentation. And I'm just a great experimenter. I mean, I never stop experimenting. And sometimes, things absolutely go south. Sometimes there are pieces that I've shelved for years. I started with a wonderful idea, and there's always a big discrepancy. The gap between your imagination and reality opens up, and then you're stuck in there. I mean, it's the same thing that every artist goes through. I mean, there's the excitement, then there's the pain of, not being able to just it's not going anywhere, but you have to be flexible. The first person I have to satisfy is myself. That's my first. So if I like something, I don't care if people don't like it. Okay, well, it's your taste. You gotta be strong. You gotta be super strong. A teacher of mine said you have to have the soul of a butterfly and the skin of a rhinoceros. Especially if the criticism comes from people that you respect or from your significant other, then of course it has a very, very, sharp or damning, it bruises you. I mean, bruises your ego, your sense of confidence. Yeah, especially because he's a sculptor and he does metal work and, like grinding and welding. And he has a very good eye. He has a very good eye for abstract forms. And so we give each other feedback. But sometimes we collaborate.
Remember high school chemistry? Remember the atom? The electrons are out there, the protons are in here, and they don't get too close together. That's it. And together they form this great atom, but these particles can't get too close. So I did this, and I just gave it to her. I said, do something. And, hands off, and she does something. And then I'll say, okay, now I'm going to do something. I don't say, oh, no, that doesn't work. So you kind of relinquish. It's kind of like ping pong, all right? It's in your court now. And then she sends it back, and it's back in your court. This is like being in kindergarten. When the teacher says, it's playtime. Mm-hmm. And she gives you a lump of clay and says, do something. That's great. So that's what I do. So I'm a retired cardiologist. Mm-hmm. So when I was working, everything is detailed and exact, and you got to read the data, make sure you agree with the data before you make a step. And she felt I needed a little break from the stress. And so abstract sculpture is the exact opposite. You don't start with a plan, you don't really care what happens, you do something, and if you want it to bend that way, bend this way, you say, okay, well, whatever. And so the good thing is we're both abstract. So she's the artist, I'm the hobbyist. So we're both abstract people. Because if she were figurative, it wouldn't work. If she like lacy and frilly, it wouldn't work. And so that's the secret. This is a little thing I just put together. It's a combo of steel and copper sheet. And so I just cut it with clippers. This is a little ornamental piece of steel, and I just shoved it through this hole, and you know. So these pieces date back a while. This is something I made years and years ago. It's steel, it's just painted. But it didn't start out that way. So I had these two long pieces of steel, right? And so I took this base, made the base, I welded this here, then I bent this and welded it together using this little piece here. And I said, you know, that does look like an upright base. So I put strings on, and I did this. This is for support, but it kind of also looks like it's under a lot of tension.
You know, kids who love art and who, you know, I would definitely encourage them to go into it and persevere. Perseverance and discipline is what it's about. They say 99% perspiration, 1% inspiration. And you always go for that 1%. And sometimes you find it, and it's magical.